Hello and welcome to Charch Chat, a cornucopia of items for you as we head into Thanksgiving's games, and a bunch of things here that we'll get into that are things to watch for Thanksgiving, and also a couple other just sort of odds and ends that I've put together. And I want to start with a couple of free agent guys that I didn't get to in my earlier free agent bit that strike me as guys that I probably should have talked about then, situations developing and that we know more about now. I want to begin in Houston, where Ahman Green goes on IR, and that means that Ryan Moats looks like he's going to be the guy who fills in for what Ahman Green was doing. You know, Steve Slayton is he's a smaller guy, and he's already worn down. There's been a number of reports that he said he's wearing down. His coach is saying he's wearing down. He's like a garden gnome. He's about that big, and he's for that reason they were using Ahman Green a lot. So Green was getting a lot of carries, especially at the goal line. Now Green's out. Ryan Moats is a bowling ball. He's 5'8", 210. So he could very well be a goal line back. And so a sneaky pickup waiver wire guy for this week, Ryan Moats. And I also want to mention Dominic Hickson, because just the more I think about the Plaxico Burress situation, if that hamstring is clearly not right, it's probably not going to be right. They don't miss him. They don't need to necessarily even win games right now. They've all but locked up the #1 seed in the NFC. So the Giants right now, I just feel like it makes a lot of sense for Plax to rest a lot between now and the rest of the season, and that means that Dominic Hickson could end up being a quality starter in a lot of games between now and the end of the season. Then they bring everybody back healthy into the postseason. So Dominic Hickson, somebody that you might want to think about picking up as a sneaky pickup if you're looking for a wide receiver. Okay, now let's get to the Thanksgiving games in particular. I've got 5 different storylines for you for the Thanksgiving games. We got 2 really good games, 1 bad game, and the good game is at night. The 2-day games are terrible, and it's sad to say, but if it's Thursday afternoon and I got to watch a Hasselbeck, I'd rather watch Elizabeth on The View than Matt right now. But that's the position that we're in, unfortunately, as the Seahawks take on the Cowboys. Let's start with this. Emailer asking about Brian Westbrook. By the way, I always appreciate the email questions. You can send your questions to fantasy@opensports.com. A couple of asked about Brian Westbrook and what to do with him the rest of the year and where he stands right now. Obviously, trying to play hurt isn't working, and it's not effective for anybody. They really need to shut him down. Now, the problem is Carl Buckhalter's out, so if they shut him down and Buckhalter down, that means they got to go to Lorenzo Booker, who you'd think they like because they gave up a 4th-round draft pick in the last draft for Booker. But you're not hearing a lot of talk about Booker coming around and playing. Still, if you've got a free roster spot, it might make sense to pick up Booker right now, stash him, and let's see what happens here. Westbrook, God, ankle, rib, knee injuries. He's just not himself. And they've also been smarting from the ongoing loss of their starting guard Sean Andrews. He's a good guard, and that's hurt them as well. And I think just going forward with Westbrook, you can't treat him as that elite level tier 1 runner that you drafted him at, and you have to start shaking up your thinking on him even when he plays, knowing he's playing hurt, knowing his line's not giving him opportunities, knowing he's getting bad play from the quarterback position. He's a guy who gets a lot of his fantasy production through the air. I think you have to take a wait and see on this, and I hate to say that you need to leave him on your bench for a good game, but I would rather have you do that than keep playing him and keep being frustrated by him. I do not expect any of the Philadelphia runners to be put up particularly good numbers against a pretty good run defense in Arizona, better than people realize. Number 2 for Thursday, Thanksgiving Day topics. Can Tennessee reestablish their power running game? They're playing the Lions, so they better, right? Here's what we know. Tennessee can't win if Kerry Collins has got to win every game for them. Once in a blue moon, they can win if Kerry Collins needs to win games. But you look at the loss that they took, and you look at the running production, and you have to assume that those 2 things go together. Chris Johnson's numbers have tailed way off. His last 3 games, 8 yards, 64 yards, and 46 yards. This is a guy that was rolling way over into triple digits every single week. We weren't even blinking at it. And then Lendell White, the 1 carry last week. And so they need to reestablish the running game. They almost certainly will. But if they don't against the Lions, well, then I think we've got a whole new reason to worry about Tennessee and their offense. Next, number 3. Can Calvin Johnson keep his string of solid outings, surprisingly solid outings, going against a really good secondary in Tennessee? Calvin Johnson has maintained fantasy viability despite the fact that he's had 3 bums thrown him the ball all season, and he's managed to keep scoring and keep putting up reasonably good numbers one way or another. It seems like this is the opportunity for it to come to an end, though. Tennessee's only allowed 2 wide receiver scores all year. I think there's a good chance to bench him, but if he can somehow manage to keep it going, well, then if he can do it against Tennessee, he could probably do it against anybody. So I would be inclined to say, in that event, you'd probably just start Calvin Johnson the rest of the year and don't even worry about the matchups. Next, number 4 of our Thanksgiving Day topics. Matt Hasselbeck has finally got a full arsenal with him. Isn't it about time that he stepped up and we started seeing some good play out of Hasselbeck? Okay, he had the back injury for a long time, and all right, I'll grant him that. The receiver troubles, right? He were rotating guys in. Deion Branch wasn't healthy for a long, long time, and Bobby Ingram wasn't available for a long time. But everybody's back. Even Julius Jones got knocked out of last week's game. He's back, so everybody's back. There's no excuses for this offense not to be what we thought it could have been coming into the season, or what many people thought it could have been. I'd like to see Hasselbeck somewhere around 240 and 2 touchdowns, and I don't think that's unreasonable against Dallas. It's time for that offense to come back to life a little bit. And lastly, the Donovan McNabb saga, of course. It's pertinent for fantasy guys too, because this is a head-scratching matchup. Do you start Donovan McNabb against the team that's allowed the most passing touchdowns, or do you not start him because you're worried that any incompletion or interception could be his last throw of the game? This is very important, and this game may very well play a big role in determining his future in Philadelphia. If he has a terrible game against the Cardinals, then it could very well be that we see Kevin Kolb the rest of the way, and that's going to usher in the end of Donovan McNabb's time in Philadelphia. By the way, my advice for fantasy use is to start Donovan McNabb. I do not believe that he will be yanked in this game, and I think he'll do just fine. I'm a big matchup guy, as you probably know, and this matchup screams good quarterback play. So, all right, there you go. A lot of different stuff to get to. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving. I hope you enjoy all of the games, and we'll be checking in again on Friday after Thanksgiving with a sneak attack running back style. So you can check that out as well on Friday. Again, if you have any questions for our fantasy department here at Open Sports, fantasy@opensports.com.
So you think you can tackle a pro? There's only one way to find out. Click on fantasy@opensports.com.